City Center Radio. It is episode 239, and I am your host, Christian Sanger. Today is Wednesday, March 27, 2024. We've got a rockin' Wednesday show for you. Thank you so much for coming on back to Holy City Center Radio. Today we have an interview with Chase Martin and Kylie Bissell. They are co-owners of Ride and Roll Cycling, which was also founded by Chase. They're both instructors there as well. And very cool backstories for both of them. They both had really interesting careers, made a shift over to this new business that has been doing well. And it's a really interesting interview. I think you're really going to enjoy it. We go through the timeline of, their first careers they had, how they made this shift into the new business, why they're passionate about it, what they offer, and I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Before we get into the interview, just wanted to let you know that's all this episode is for this Wednesday. Just the interview, no news stories. I'll get you caught up on future episodes of anything big that's going on, of course. I appreciate everyone that took the time to vote in the Best of Charleston Awards. We won't find out for a little while if Holy City Center was lucky enough to win any, but I just want to say thank you for everyone who took the time to vote, and also thank you for putting up with the last handful of episodes where I'm asking for the votes. I know it probably isn't the most fun thing to hear multiple times, so I appreciate that as well. A new fun thing that I'm doing now with Holy City Center and our sibling site, which is MyLo, M-Y-L-O, Lowcountry. So MyLoLowcountry.com. We have a photo contest going on. There'll be a link in the show notes where you can head on over to get the details. We've got some amazing prizes for the top three people who end up winning. It's all voted on. So it's not something where we're going to pick the winner. It's going to be based on votes and everything. Basically just any photo that you've taken related to Charleston, something that just shows the essence of Charleston, something fun and exciting, whatever it may be. That's all it needs to be, just Charleston related. And then people will vote on their favorites. Top three will end up winning prize packs that are worth thousands of dollars each, include things like gift certificates to restaurants, or could be, a spa day, discount to a spa. We also have some other deals worked out with local businesses, hotel stays, things like that. So depending on if you get 1, 2, or 3, that will determine what sort of prizes you get. But you can get all the details on the link in the show notes, as I mentioned. Should be fun to see all these great photos, and it's a chance for you all to possibly win some pretty cool prizes. So be sure to check the link in the show notes for that as well. You'll also find in the show notes the website for Rock and Roll Cycling, where you can get more information about the business. And as you listen to the co-owners, Chase Martin and Kylie Bissell, talk to me about the business, I'm sure you're going to be interested. They make it sound like it's a lot of fun to be there and participating in the workouts that they offer. And you'll notice they also have a lot of energy. They sound like they're very supportive of their clients and each other. And you just get some good feeling after listening to the interview. So without any further delay, let's get into it. All right, as promised, I am now joined by Chase Martin and Kylie Bissell of Ride and Roll Cycling. I'm so happy to have you both here. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Hey! We got all the claps, the audience.
No, we're so excited to be here. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course. Sounds like you have a whole class with you there right now.
No, it's just us.
That's just
ourselves. Hey, somebody's got to cheer you on. Why not yourself?
Hey, there you go. As I said, so happy to have you both here. I already know a little bit about the business and your background. So for the listeners who may not be familiar with either of you, if you could just let them know who each of you are, what brought you to Charleston, were you born in Charleston, any other things about your background, just leading up to the business, and then we'll get into that.
Love it. We were both looking at each other like, who's going to talk first? We're both attention hogs, so it's a hard one for us. I think Kylie looked at me to go first. So, hey, I am Chase. I am the founder of Ride and Roll. I was born and raised in Charleston. I moved away when I was 17 years old. I moved to Nashville, Tennessee to chase. No pun. Well, pun intended. Pun intended. The dream of being a country music artist. I signed a record deal with Sony Music back in 2020 and had quite the experience with all of that, but it just didn't really become my thing after all. I think I moved to Nashville and realized that this dream that had been in me since I was a little girl wasn't necessarily available in real life or a thing. So I found a lot of peace and solitude and just, I don't know, grace, I guess, in moving my body and going to spin classes and various fitness classes and stuff like that. And so I just wanted to bring that feeling to other people and have them experience everything that I had found with physical fitness and all of the benefits, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. Just became such a big thing for me. And there was this thing between it where I found this point where I could still have some similarities between music and doing this. You know, I could still be in front of people, yes, at a smaller scale, but I could still share my journey and my thoughts and everything that I had learned in life while also getting to experience their journeys and just being able to have an impact on somebody's life, whether it's big or small or somewhere in between. It's just been a real blessing and a real great thing to be a part of. The journey has been amazing so far.
Yeah. I'm Kylie. I'm originally from Arizona, a little desert baby. I pursued my college career out in Hawaii. I went to UH Manoa, where I pursued marine mammal training. So I actually worked at SeaWorld, Texas for about a year, working with belugas and Pacific white-sided dolphins. Animal conservation and education has always been a huge part in my life. But with that too, I had to be physically fit in order to do the swim test or carrying those fish buckets day in and day out. So I found another love for spin, and I started teaching spin class while I was in Texas and found just another mental release from it, as like the music industry is also an extremely stressful career, and physical fitness has always been that out for me as well. I ended up here in Charleston, South Carolina. My husband is currently active duty in the Navy, so he's over here at the Power Nuke School. And after doing 2 years of distance, I just decided it was time to do something new. Chase and I actually met. She slid into my DMs on Instagram.
She turned me down, by the way.
I said no at first, and then I just couldn't stay away. But just instantly, once I met Chase, I knew we had so many similarities in our life about leaving a career that meant so much to us. And I think we both felt a little lost at that time. And being able to lean on each other and express our love for the community through Ride and Roll just brought us closer together and with our community.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't know all the details of your backgrounds. Both very fascinating, really cool careers, and got to do some really neat things. I just want to touch on each of those again before we get more into the business. So, Chase, you mentioned that you realize, so you get to Nashville. Not only that, you sign a record deal. So it sounds like, as you said, it seemed like you were getting that dream that you've always wanted, and you mentioned it wasn't obtainable. So for someone who had a record deal, how did it feel like it was still unobtainable? Even for a lot of us listening, would probably be like, "Oh, you got a record deal. It sounds like you were on your way."
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things that with the emergence of TikTok, the industry changed a lot. I think when I first moved to Nashville, there was still part of my dream that existed, but it became less about being an artist and more about falling into a computer generated algorithm and just
Mm.
going viral on a platform that, it just became so much more luck. It's always been such luck and timing with the music industry, but with TikTok, it became having good luck falling into that algorithm. And I remember the label coming to me so often and asking me to do these voiceovers and quick changes and all this stuff. And I was like, I want to be an artist. I don't want to be a Kardashian.
Sure. No,
So
yeah.
that wasn't my dream. Everybody has their own dream. And for me, I no longer believed in the industry. And I remember I had this conversation with one of the members on my team because we were about to record a new EP when I told them that like I was throwing the towel in basically. And they were like, but what if these songs are it? Like, what if these are the ones that send it over?
Right.
And I looked at them and I said, yeah, what if it is? Then I'll be stuck for the rest of my life. It became this thing that I realized it was no longer my dream. I had outgrown what the industry had grown into, or maybe just grown in different directions. I think it happens in so many facets of life where, two things grow in completely opposite directions. And I realized that I had grown in one and the industry had grown in a different one. And it just no longer aligned with my goals and my dreams anymore.
That certainly makes sense based on what you were saying with your experience and everything. And it's good that you were able to recognize that. A lot of people might have, just kept trying to cling to something that they weren't really 100% into anymore. But it's great that you realized that and then made a shift to something else.
That was me for a while because, TikTok came out in 2020 and I did it for a bit, hoping, one day the industry would come back to what I had known and loved so much. But I also just couldn't sit around and wait. What if it didn't come back? I
Sure.
found
No, absolutely.
something else that I love just as much, and I had noticed that my days were starting to shift around. Hey, can I make another spin class? Hey, can I make this spin class? And then, reworking my schedule to make sure that I could attend them. And I realized that, I had a new thing that was most important to me. And yeah, so
No, it
start.
makes sense. Your priority shifted and you realized what you were becoming more passionate about.
Yeah, 100%. Next thing I know, I'm laying in bed at 3 in the morning looking at the cost of stages bikes.
And with music, obviously, you can still scratch that itch. I'm sure anytime. I'm sure you still play. Whether it's just for yourself or what have you. You can still pursue that for your own reasons. You don't have to go out and perform or try to get a record contract again. You can still have that and still have that to do if you want in your private life.
Oh, yeah, I still get down to some traffic karaoke.
And now, Kylie, when did you recognize that shift? It sounds like you were pursuing something that you were absolutely very passionate about. And when did you make that shift? Or are you still, I mean, I'm sure you're still passionate about animal conservation. And here in Charleston, I'm sure there's opportunities for you to be involved in some fashion if you wanted to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in contact with the aquarium to do a beach cleanup where, we collab with doing a donation right here and then getting a team of people and going out and just cleaning up the community. That's something that will always be a part of my life. And I don't necessarily think that I've closed the door to marine mammal training. It's something that I am very passionate about, to be able to educate people face to face and show them these incredible animals that we share our planet with, and teaching them how we can make a difference, especially the younger generation, is something that I probably won't ever close the door on. But I was kind of faced with, okay, where are my priorities right now? And at that time, I just made the decision it was time to be with my husband after 2 years of distance. Coming here, knowing that I wouldn't have the same opportunities that I had at SeaWorld, I really just had to do a lot of soul searching into a career does not define who I am, and I have to find a passion for something else as well, without closing that door. So that's where I think Chase and I relate a lot.
Yeah.
Very
Also,
cool.
shout out to her husband, Ian, who is a very forgotten co-owner. Most of the
We are military owned.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah, make sure you get that out there. That'll help too. Any women owned, military owned.
Well,
Help.
he comes in a relatively good bit, but we're most of the daily runners.
We're the face of the business. He helps us out financially sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's great that he's involved and is supportive of the project and everything. And now you've opened this business where, ride and roll cycling, I'm assuming, of course, ties into the music background, Chase. And what classes do you offer? What can people expect from this business?
You want to take it? Me?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. It's 45. Okay. Say no more. I got this. Yeah, it's 45 minutes of just a high intensity cardio workout with resistance training as well. So it really is a full body workout. A lot of people think, oh, spin is just for your legs or for cardio. No, we really touch on every single part of the body. It's so important to use your core muscles in class and really sit back above your saddle, protect your lower back. And then, of course, we have a lot of resistance songs where you really crank up your resistance wheel, and they're just like a slower pace song. So we ride to the beat of the music here. So the slower pace songs, you want to really crank up your resistance for, and for the faster ones, you want very little resistance, and that's a lot of cardio and just running. So yeah, it really just varies from song to song. It's a 12-song playlist, and each song varies in a pace. And like I said, we ride to the beat of the music. So, it's definitely up and down, up and down. And we have a lot of choreo. I always say, you're dancing and going places on bikes, going absolutely nowhere.
I'll touch on that too. It is a full body workout, not just physically, but also mentally. We always have a blackout song where we just take the lights out. Whether the instructor is giving some sort of motivational speech or they decide, I'll see you on the other side. It's just a good mental release for people to reset. We are a no phone zone, so 45 minutes, it's just you on the bike and of course your neighbors next to you. We always say it's not necessarily a team sport. However, we are all in this together. If we all ride to the rhythm of the beat, we're all
like High School Musical.
Yeah, High School Musical. We're all going to be in sync. We're all in this together.
I can tell you guys have already been up and doing workouts and have the energy already, whereas I'm very much struggling in the morning.
I taught at 7, she taught at 8:30. Yeah, we're here.
Your days must start fairly early, I would imagine, these work days.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so obviously you have the earlier classes, but you have many options throughout the day. You have classes. How late is the latest class for those who maybe are more, work out later in the day?
Yeah, we have a 4:30, and so it kind of varies from day to day. On Mondays, we'll have like a 5:45, and on Wednesday it is 5:30, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays it's 4:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. So we do have classes as late as 6 p.m.
And do you offer different packages, or is it just you come in, you pay for that one class, or what options do people have?
Yeah, so we have a tiered membership system. We've got the standard unlimited membership, so that's going to be unlimited spin at 145, and that gets you, unlimited classes. You can sign up a week prior. We have one level above that, which is going to be our premium membership, and that one is going to be 160. However, you can get that at 150 if you sign on for a year. The premium is going to come with a buddy pass, so you can bring one friend in each month, and then you also get a 2-week early bird sign up. So if you're someone who really likes their bike, which we've got a lot of people that they're like, that's my bike, they will fight for it. So that's an option for them. And then we also try to do at least 2 events each month for our members. So we try to be more than just a spin studio. We want to collab with other local fitness businesses. We'll reach out to multiple places. Next month, we have 2 different yoga studios that we're pairing up with, where we'll do 30 minutes of their class outside, and then we have 30 minutes of spin inside. Those events are going to be free to our premium members, but if they're on a standard membership, it's just a $20 drop-in, just because we have to also pay our other instructor that we're bringing in. But being able to collab with local fitness communities not only brings their community to us, but we're bringing our community to them, and that's what it's all about.
I would talk to a lot of folks, other business owners like yourselves, and I'm glad you mentioned that, having events and working with other businesses. And it always has been interesting to me, and maybe this is everywhere, but since I've done the website and talked to other business owners and just learned more and more about the Charleston area, it seems like everybody, no matter if it's the same industry or different, people are so ready to collaborate. There's not like this us versus them type mentality. Is that what you have seen with partnering with other businesses?
Yeah, I think for sure. There's been so many different fitness studios that have been so willing to collaborate and share communities and bring us into their community and let um, and have their communities come to us. And it's been really inspiring and really cool to just watch different communities come together. And this doesn't really touch on what you just asked, but it in a
That's
roundabout,
okay.
another thing that I have noticed here, and I'm sure this could be so many different fitness studios, but just what I have experienced firsthand is watching different backgrounds, even in the studio, seeing, a younger woman in her 20s become friends with an older woman in her 60s, and just like, I don't know, watch them exchange numbers and see, hey, what bike are you sitting at tomorrow? And them come in and kind of talk about it and be like, oh, we're going to sit on 15 and 16. We wanted to sit next to each other. And just watching completely different backgrounds and people from completely different communities come together and accept each other and become friends and become teammates in this. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're athletes. It's not easy to come in here and move your body like that. This is our extracurricular activity. This is our cheerleading practice after school, our football practice after school. Like, this is, as you get older, you don't have those things and those types of platforms available to you. And this is our version. So it's fun to watch people come together and work together as a team and just become friends and watch communities merge that way as well.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
touch on that too, in that I always define community as just a group of like-minded people. And I always use the example of I wake up at 4 a.m. every day and I go to the gym at 5, not just because I like to do my workout at 5, but because that specific 5 a.m. group of people, those are my people. Like a simple fist bump and a hey, how are you doing goes so long. And I I think it's so beautiful to be able to watch it in our community
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to share those two differences. Like me going to the gym, shout out to Ethos, love Ethos. Um, and then being able to come here into our spin community it's just been like a beautiful process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense. I've heard other folks who, whether they are just going to classes or own businesses, similar to yours, they say that a lot too, that there's a real sense of community. And Chase, as you mentioned, different ages, different backgrounds, people become friends. And I mean, it certainly makes sense if you're going through something together that can be difficult. Working out can be tough. It can be challenging if you're not in the right headspace, et cetera. And so that's good to hear. And I think a lot of people listening, myself included, thinking about gyms or fitness studios or whatever it may be, and working out in front of people can be stressful, and you get worried about being judged or whatever. So it's good. I'm glad you touched on that for anybody who's listening. They're like, hey, this sounds like it could be a really fun community, but I'm not too sure about it. It sounds like not just you all, but the folks that you have coming in are super supportive of everyone.
Absolutely. They definitely get our message and what we're trying to accomplish. And we hear so much just how they try to spread the word, and they're always talking about how welcome you feel as soon as you come in. It's really gratifying to see everything that you wanted to happen with the business come true and work out in real time.
That's great. That's got to feel so fulfilling, especially both of you changing careers, knowing you were passionate about it, but starting a business is stressful and is tough, and you don't know if people are going to buy into it. But it sounds like so far everything's been going the way you would hope it would.
Absolutely.
And I did want to touch on, kind of circling back, when you were talking about classes and the things you offer. I saw on the website you have other things too that people may be interested in, including private rides. And you mentioned, hey, maybe this is a cool bachelorette party idea. And then you also have personal training and nutritional coaching as well.
Yeah, so we do offer private rides. We've had several bachelorette groups come in and book those, and they're very fun. We call them little bride rides. But we do birthday parties. We do everything. Anytime you want to rent out the space for a private ride, I am a personal training coach. And so we offer that just through that. And then Kylie is a nutritional coach.
Yep, I have One Body, One Life. There's an Instagram for that as well, but I offer special discounted prices for anybody who's a member for Ride and Roll.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've talked about all the different things you offer, how the business has gone. So for those listening now who are definitely going to be like, hey, I want to get over there as soon as possible and take part in these classes, where can they find more information?
rideandrollcycling.com. That's the easiest way to do it. Through our Instagram, you can normally get a lot of information, which is at Ride and Roll Cycling. To book a class, it's rideandrollcycling.com/schedule. That's probably the easiest one to go to, because as soon as you try to book a class, you will be asked to create an account and purchase a credit. For first-time riders, we have two options. For the rider that's just willing to dip their little toe in, we have a buy one, get one free option. So it's two classes for the price of one, which is $24. Or for the rider that's ready to kind of jump in but not quite commit to a membership, you can get your first month unlimited at $105. So two options for first time riders. And I feel like our website makes it pretty simple to create an account and book your first class.
Yeah, and then also we're pretty active on social media. So if anybody has any questions, you can either text or call the Ride and Roll number, or you can always DM us on Instagram.
Fantastic. So before I let you go, is there anything about the business or anything else that I didn't ask you about that you think is important, or you just want to mention to folks, just before we say goodbye?
I think one thing to just share is, listen, it's really hard to take the first steps to start a new program, whether it's for fitness or anything. And the hardest part is making that first step. And I can guarantee you, this is one thing I will guarantee: when you walk through our doors, you will feel very at home. You will feel very welcome, very safe. There's no reason to feel insecure about starting a new program, or if you feel like you've gotten out of shape, so to speak, I say in quotes. There's no reason to be nervous. Like, we're here for you. We're all at different levels. You take our classes at your own pace. There is a lot of choreo. There's a lot of high energy. Most people do not come in for their very first ride and catch every single part. It's about coming in and growing together and learning together and just, getting started. Like, that's the hardest part. And so if you're looking for a community that will be so accepting of you, no matter where you come from or who you are or what your goals or aspirations are, like, this is the place for you. Come give us a shot.
And just to touch on that too, exercise should be fun.
Yeah.
So it's not that serious.
It's dancing on a bike.
It's dancing on a bike. We all look like a fish out of water our first times.
Oh yeah.
And we're all here to support you and answer any questions that y'all might have.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Chase Martin and Kylie Bissell of Ride and Roll Cycling. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time.
That'll do it for this edition of Holy City Center Radio. Thank you so much to Chase Martin and Kylie Bissell for joining me today. Don't forget, you can get more information at in the show notes, as well as about that photography contest I mentioned at the top of the show. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you to Lindsay Marie Collins with LMC Sound System for producing this and every episode of Holy City Center Radio. And a big thank you to Tyler Boone, whose music you hear in each and every show as well. Have a great rest of your week. I will talk to you all again on Friday. Until then, good night and good luck.